Okay, thank y'all for coming this evening. The first item is the approval of our March 28th, 22 council meeting.
Move. Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. All right, second item, announcements, Chief, National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, April 30th. We got ahead of him. Is Chief around? We got going so fast, he didn't have time. No one hit him. You're up, Cindy. Cindy. It's not her first rodeo.
Mayor, council, we'll be having the National Drug Take-Back Day on April 30th, 2022. It will be out in the parking lot of the City Hall. We usually set up underneath the covered parking. Anything expired, unused, unwanted prescription items, no needles, syringes, EpiPens, or injectable devices will be accepted. They'll be running from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. One of the detectives, either Donnie Fonseca or Jeff Nugent, will be running the event.
Excellent. Thank you. That was a great report, Chief. Okay, next item, citizens to be heard concerning items not on the agenda. Nobody has signed up to speak, and nobody has raised their hand in line to log on. So we'll move to our items for individual consideration. Public hearing, planning and zoning case number 419, a request by Richard and Mahan Sue, we'll call her Sue, Yarborough, Barbo, applicants is authorized by section 16-105 of the Code of Ordinances to close, vacate, abandon, and sell a portion of the public right-of-way, approximately 2,212 square feet of the 15-foot wide alley that adjoins the western side of the property identified as Lot East, 83.3 feet of 5 Block 199, City Block 4024, also known as 740 Tuxedo in the city of Alamo Heights, Texas. Betty.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. So this request is for the current owner who will be residing at 740 Tuxedo to purchase a portion of the alley that is on their west side of the property. That is the location of the property, or 740 Tuxedo. It is currently zoned single family A. So the area that they're wanting to purchase, if you'll see there, is in the cross-hatched blue area. That whole area is an alley portion of it is not currently being used. The crosshatch area is the one he's wanting to purchase. The green area is just green space between or behind that current residence, and then the rest is a paved alley that's used, the city uses to provide a garbage pickup service from. This is a survey of the alley area, totaling 2,200 square feet. So the city allows the owner and the city to agree as far as determining the price. So the option is either to rely on the average price per square foot per the BCAT market values, or we can require an independent professional appraisal by a jointly selected appraiser. The owner did agree to the average per square foot per the BCAD market values. Based on the 2,212 square feet, we came up with $21.43 per square foot, totaling $47,403.16. The P&Z did hear the request, and they did recommend approval of the sale. Originally, the request was heard at the February 7th meeting. The commission did express some concerns, as we did not hear back from the owner on the west side, which is the other budding owner. And so they actually tabled the case, allowed the applicant to reach out to that property owner, and then we did receive confirmation or approval from Mr. Gwynn, who lives on the other side of the alley. I included this in there only because the commission wanted to know who was in favor of the sale and who was against. And so you'll see those that are marked in green are those property owners that were in favor of and we received response from. And then there was one that was against, who was located across the street. Should be noted that that is City of San Antonio. So public notice was mailed to the property owners within the 200-foot radius and posted on the city's website and on the property. We also did post the legal notice in the official newspaper of the city, which is the Express News. We did receive 6 responses in support and 1 in opposition. And unless council has any questions for me, I believe Mr. Ibarbo is attending via Zoom.
Council, any questions or comments? Lydia, I assume our garbage goes in and comes right back out, that,
Yes, it is my understanding that they do back up into that alley and pull back out.
okay.
Do we have to have a public
Oh,
hearing?
public hearing, yeah, let's open up the public hearing at 5:36. And is there any discussion from the public? Okay, we'll close the public hearing at 5:37. We'll move to item 5, discussion and possible action on planning and zoning case number 419, a request by Richard and Sue Yabarbo, applicants is authorized by section 16-105 of the Code of Ordinances to close, vacate, abandon, and sell a portion of the public right-of-way, approximately 2,212 square feet, 0.05 of an acre of the 15-foot wide alley that adjoins the western side of the property identified as Lot E, 83.3 feet of 5, Block 199, City Block 4024, also known as 740 Tuxedo Avenue, City of Alamo Heights, Texas. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to let you know that there is someone who's indicated they'd like to speak on.
Oh, sure, okay, let's go ahead and let's bring that person in.
Hello, this is Richard Wybarbo, the applicant. I just want to let you know I'm online if by chance you had any questions for me.
Great, thank you, Richard.
Letty, does moving the property line closer to the neighbor do anything to affect the compliance of the neighbor's structure?
No, because their property line would not change as far as the owner, Mr. At the 820, I believe, is the address. The only thing that would be affected with the sale of the alley would be the looming standard based on the recent revisions. But the owner did make contact with me, and I explained that to him as far as that he would be losing that exemption. And so after our discussion, he did express his support.
Does this affect access to the neighbor?
So Mr. Barbo is planning on fencing that area in, so that area would not be accessible to anyone any longer. However, that the area in the alley that's identified in the green, that is currently just green space, as is the rest of the crosshatch area, and that will remain as is.
So in theory, that neighbor could get in through the green.
I'm trying to figure, so he still has access through
Canyon.
the alleyway if need be? for
Yes, he
pools
would
or
still be
whatever.
able to access his area through the rear property. He has no access currently on that side. I believe he has a fence now.
More comments? Questions, motion? Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, motion passes. Thank you, Letty.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, item number 6, presentation of the annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2021 for acceptance by council. Robert?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. We do have with us today, tonight, we have Mike Del Toro and also Kyle Lair with ABIB, who did the independent audit for the city for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2021. So I'll go ahead and let Mike present the audit findings, and if you have any questions.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Welcome, Robert. Thank you, Robert, I should say. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Like I said, I'm Mike Del Toro. I'm with ABIP. Kyle Lair is also my colleague here joining me. He's going to do the little clicker for me, right, Kyle? All right. All right, so this is a presentation for the annual, what do they call it now, Robert? The annual comprehensive financial report. Apparently, the old name was a derogatory statement towards people in South Africa, was it? Yeah, yeah. The acronym was a derogatory statement. So they've changed the name. The GFOA changed the name of the report. The contents have not changed. Those are still the same things that the reports have required in the past. The independent auditor's report obviously is the key document that you hire us for. And then some other required items, and they're all in the bound report, and I won't go through them in that much detail. Kyle, if you wouldn't mind changing. The independent auditor's report, as I mentioned, that's what you hire us for. We are engaged to do an audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards of the United States, and the purpose of that is to determine whether the financial statements are presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And we find in our report that they are, and that's stated, I think, at the top of page 2 of our report in the bound document. And it's an unmodified opinion. It sounds like a negative term, but it is a positive term. It means that we had no modifying statements indicating that you had something outside of generally accepted accounting principles. So it is the highest level of assurance we can give on the financial statements, and it is what has been expected and what the city has received since we've been engaged with the city. After the report, towards the beginning of the report, after our independent auditor's report, is the management discussion and analysis, and it's the financial highlights. We've extracted some of the key financial highlights in the slides, and Kyle, if you wouldn't mind changing to that. The government-wide financial statements are the first 2 statements that you see in the basic financial statements. They are the fully consolidated presentation of the city's governmental funds as well as its business type activities. It's not how you manage the city, but it is a required presentation, and it helps users of the financial statements have some type of analysis tool to compare you with other similar organizations. Looking at that at the high level that we do, the assets exceeded liabilities by $22.9 million. Again, all these indicators here indicate a strong financially healthy organization. The government activities had a net position of $12.4 million. The business type activities had $10.5 million, and those increased during the fiscal year by $2.5 million. 1.7 for the governmental activities and 750,000 for the business type activities. In the fund financial statements, looking at the general fund, which is your primary operating fund, that is how you manage the city's financials. We do, again, see a strong indicator of financial health and strength. We have $5.8 million, almost $5.9 million in fund balance in the general fund. That increased to $117,000 from last year. Your unassigned fund balance, which is that indicator of your financial reserves, what you can use for your future budgeting periods. You had $5.7 million in the unassigned fund balance, which equates to about 7 months of operating reserves. That's almost double what your policy states, which again is an indicator of strong health. You have a 25% fund balance policy that was adopted, and that's about 3 months, and so you're sitting at 7 months. Your combined governmental fund balance across all funds was $23.8 million, an increase of $15 million during the year. Most of that was related to a bond issuance that was issued towards the end of the fiscal year, and that's why your restricted has about $13.8 million. Most of that is that bond spent money that has not been spent at the end of the fiscal year. And then you have some committed and assigned fund balances to the tune of about $4.2 million at the end of the fiscal year. In your proprietary fund, the water fund, again, an indicator of a strong position. The net position increased by $750,000 during the year to 10.5 million. 2.5 of that is unrestricted net position. And then when we look at working capital, and that's taking your current assets minus your current liabilities, which is an indicator of your ability to meet operating expenditures, we see that you have almost 9 months of operating reserves when we do that calculation. Again, a good, strong financial position for the water fund. In addition to the audit report, the bound document, we do have a letter that we issue along with the audit. It spells out some required communications and things that we're required to look at, such as your accounting policies and estimates and disclosures that are significant to the financial statements. We also look and see if or communicate whether we had any difficulties in performing the audit. We're happy to report we didn't. Management, and Robert in particular, were very accommodating to us in getting us what we needed when we needed it. We didn't have any misstatements in the financial statements. Again, an indicator that your finance department is giving you good information throughout the year. We have some organizations where we do have a lot of adjustments, and then it gets questionable whether the information that those organizations are getting on a routine basis is reliable, but that's not the case here. We don't have a lot of misstatements. And in fact, I think we had maybe 2 or 3 that Robert actually provided us, and none of them were material to the financials as a whole. We didn't have any disagreements with management. Management has provided us with a representation saying that they gave us everything we needed to conduct our audit in accordance with our standards. To our knowledge, there was no independent other auditors consulted with the city. We have a professional standard requirement that if somebody did contact, if a CPA firm was contacted by this organization, they have a responsibility of notifying us to ensure they received proper information to make any assessments. We do audit your investments to determine whether you're in compliance with the Public Funds Investment Act. That audit resulted in a clean opinion as well. We didn't have any compliance findings in how you're managing the city's investments. And then our last thing here is our comments and recommendations that we identified during our audit. Typically, we have not had any, but there was one change that was done during the fiscal year that we identified a weakness that we wanted to bring to management's attention and to council's attention. It's important to note, though, that through our audit, when we did identify this, management went ahead and rectified that at the time we notified them. But there was a change where we used to require 2 signatures on a check, which required some segregation, some oversight on check disbursements. That was dropped, and we only had one signer required during the fiscal year. And unfortunately, one of those signers that was allowed to sign on checks was the finance director, who had a lot of other duties that really weakened the control structure over disbursements. And so we brought that to management's attention as a comment. And like I said, they have since rectified that situation. And so with that, I will take any questions you have on the reporting or the audit process.
What do we do, just out of curiosity, what do we do to rectify that? Take
Well,
Robert off?
correct me, did you take yourself off as a signer
take you off?
altogether?
Yeah, so on the, normally our procedures have been, since I've been here, we have 2 signatures on the checking account, on the vendor checks. So I've always been one of the signers. So what the auditors recommended, and we made that change immediately after we met with them, is we have 2 signatures. We hadn't gone to 1 signature because of COVID, to minimize any kind of spread of COVID, and also to make sure we were able to process our vendor payments in a timely manner. So now that they brought that up to our attention, we rectified that immediately. We went back to 2 signatures, and the other internal control that we made is I'm no longer signing checks, so it's either got to be someone that does not sign checks, because I signed checks in the past, and also I had ability to update vendors and also do the bank reconciliation. So as an internal control, the auditors brought that up, and It was a good suggestion for us to go ahead and do that, so we did it right away.
Yeah, and Mayor, one other thing is, all checks over 50,000 I sign, that has not changed, so I'll be the second signature on anyone over 50. And as Robert said, it was all due to COVID. It was just trying to get a matter of getting 2 signatures, and so thanks to Mike and his team for bringing that up to us, but we made the change that day.
Good. Sounds good to me. As long as they keep increasing our property taxes, you guys stay conservative. Right? All right, thank you very much for the report. Oh, let's see, so, yeah, it's just a presentation. Great.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Do we have a motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. All right, thank you. Thanks, Frank.
Mayor, one last thing, if we, Mike, can move item 9 up,
We can do that
since we
he's
don't have
sitting
anything
back
else,
there.
and since Chris is
Let him
here
out of here a little early.
tonight,
Yeah,
representing,
I have
it
no
might be
objection
nice
to
to do
that.
that for him.
You don't want to wait till after 10?
These aren't billable hours.
No, these are not billable hours.
All right, item number 9, consideration and possible action to renew contract with Freeze and Nichols, Inc. to provide project management, engineering, and floodplain development permit review services. Pat?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. We're going to discuss the contract extension with Freeze and Nichols for project management, engineering services, floodplain development permit review, the new ones. Other services upon request, environmental, construction, architectural, etc. The Freeze and Nichols has been serving the city of Alamo Heights since 2007. In 2015, an additional project management and engineering contract with a term of 2 years and a 2-year extension option. In 2017, the 2-year extension option was exercised. In 2019, a 1-year contract extension was approved by council. Currently, Freeze and Nichols has been honoring last contract executed. This contract is for 2 years with an option of 3 1-year contracts pending staff and council's approval. Staff review has determined the new contract as having addition of more management levels and recalculating of rates within those positions. Only changes to positions related charges. In addition of in-house services and equipment, drones, GPS, valve crew vehicles, pressure data loggers, and microscopes, etc., have been updated because of new technology. The fiscal impact is set reasonable fee schedules, allows for cost savings for projects, expense variables due to ad hoc nature of services. Any questions?
Sounds good.
I have Chris Trevino with Freeze and Nichols is here, if you have any questions for Chris.
Continue to do a great job for us. Anybody questions or comments?
No. I move for approval.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, we'll go back to item number 7, consideration of a resolution of the City of Alamo Heights, Texas, reappointing Dr. Chichi Junda Wu, MD, as the Health Authority for the Alamo Heights, Texas, for emergency purposes, and authorizing the city manager to execute an interlocal agreement for designation of health authority in accordance with Chapter 121 of the Texas Health and Safety Code, and authorizing the mayor to execute a certificate of appointment for the local health authority. Chief?
Thank you. In an effort to have the,
Sorry, I thought it was Alan.
you want me to talk like a robot? No. In order to have the prompt medical authority in the event of a natural or man-made disaster, the city entered this interlocal agreement with Dr. Wu. We entered that in May 26th of 2020, and it terminates 2 years from that date on the 26th of this year. It ensures the city has the resources and support necessary to control events of a man-made or naturally occurring disaster, and it allows Dr. Wu to impose area or widespread quarantine in the event of a biological, nuclear, natural, or other man-made disaster. The resolution renewing this interlocal agreement is consistent with the prior actions by the City of Alamo Heights and pursuant with the Health and Safety Code, Chapter 121. Maintains local control and a faster resource response, and is consistent with other municipalities in Bexar County. There's no fiscal impact unless Dr. Wu's services are used in accordance with the Local Government Code, Chapter 791.01, in conjunction with a large-scale event, and it becomes effective upon signature of the mayor and y'all's decision to move forward.
Chief, seriously, for a second, I know there was an issue a couple years ago because we were at the beginning of COVID, and I think maybe you had most of the concern or the discussion.
Yeah, I think
don't know
that-
where we stand with that or where that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the alternative, right, and we've been over this, I think, ad nauseum at this point, but the alternative is we default into the regional.
Yes, sir.
Health
Region
authority.
8, Dishes Region 8.
Yeah, I mean, I think my concerns with that remain. I would still opt the same way I thought before into Region 8, but
Okay.
it's my opinion.
Any other questions or comments? Discussion? Motion? Have a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Wes?
Opposed.
Councilman
Opposed
Sharples?
here, too.
Pardon me? Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. Please note that it's 3-2 with Councilman Sharples and Bonner opposed. Okay, item number 8, thank you. All right, item number 8 is consideration of a resolution of the City of Alamo Heights, Texas, approving the renewal of an interlocal agreement between the City of Alamo Heights and the Alamo Heights Independent School District for a school resource officer program and authorizing the city manager and police chief to execute the agreement.
Thank you, Mayor. We're here tonight seeking a resolution that would continue or allow us to continue to sponsor a school resource program for the Alamo Heights Independent School District. This resolution would renew the interlocal agreement currently in place until June 30th of 2025. And approval of the resolution also includes the city manager and the chief of police executing the agreement on behalf of the city. Just some background on this, the city of Alamo Heights, of course, entered into an interlocal agreement on September 24, 2018 for the school resource program. We feel like it's been a very, very successful program, not only for this community and the campuses in Alamo Heights, but the district as a whole, I think, has benefited from this. Staff has, during this initial agreement, staff has worked with the executive staff of the independent school district throughout the agreement period to identify areas that we may have missed, to make some changes that we feel will benefit the program more, and just to pick up on some of the oversights that there may have been in developing a brand new program. A couple of those are the interlocal agreement. We're asking for it to commence on the date signed by the authorized representatives. Right now, in the first agreement, it started on a date and ended on a date. And so we're asking for a little bit of variance on that to allow that to go into effect upon signature of the authorized representatives to kind of keep the timeline a little bit better. And another reason for this is that the interlocal agreement got by us. Their initial agreement actually expired in 2021. But that was after all of the COVID and getting school back on track, getting everybody else on track, and it got right past us during that time. So what we're asking for here in this new agreement is to renew, it'll automatically renew under the same terms for a period of 90 days to give us time, if there is an oversight, to get back together and to get a program renewed. Another minor change is the SRO supervisory authority is changed from the administrative lieutenant to an SRO supervisor to give us a little bit more latitude to get other people in the department involved in these types of programs. Having this as, generally speaking, we think that it'll be a lot better for the program and give us a little bit more latitude. This is kind of the biggest deal in here is the jurisdiction of the SRO. Currently, that is campuses in Alamo Heights, which would be Cambridge Elementary and the high school campus. We have on several occasions had to send the SRO to the junior school or to the elementary schools within the district under special circumstances. So the home base will continue to be at the Alamo Heights Independent School District campus, the high school campus, and but there'll be times where we're going off of that campus onto other campuses, and by opening up this agreement, we will basically be in the right. And basically, what we're doing is we're changing the agreement to the practice that we've had to adopt as we went through the program, just as a shortfall. So the jurisdiction is not a really big issue because the SRO will be working on that campus basically as a presence. We've had a couple of situations with parents that they felt like having the SRO present on the campus at the time would be helpful in working through whatever problem was being worked through. And you know, those are some circumstances, and then there are some business of the district that the SRO takes care of, such as home visits for the kids that are typically truant, to also handle any other type of business that may take them off the campus to the home of a student, to contact a parent, deliver paperwork, or official paperwork between the school and the parent, or whatever is needed at that time. So we would like to have it in writing that instead of just being restricted to 2 campuses, the SRO jurisdiction would include the geographical boundaries of the independent school district. And the Board of Trustees has approved this proposed interlocal agreement on March 24th, 2022. Our policy analysis is the Chapter 791 of the Texas Government Code allows a home rule municipality and an independent school district to jointly exercise governmental control over a program in the school. The cost of the SRO's salary and benefits is still shared at the same rate, 75% for the district, 25% for us. The 21-22 fiscal year will serve as our baseline, and the cost, the salary and benefits now is $87,828. The ISD picks up $65,871, and that leaves us with $21,957. There's no equipment cost. All of the equipment and the vehicle that the SRO has is currently in inventory, and all of the financial obligations of the School Resource Officer Program will be funded by the respective revenues of the ISD in the city of Alamo Heights. I worked with Dr. Frank Alfaro, the assistant superintendent, in making the changes that we felt were necessary to make this a good working agreement. The city manager and the city attorney have both reviewed the interlocal agreement, and the city attorney has actually prepared the resolution we're presenting tonight. And that's the end of it.
So, Chief, a couple questions. One is, I guess it makes sense for us to pick up part of the cost, and we've done that over the years, because hopefully it saves us in the long run by having visibility at the schools. Is that, I mean, is that a rationale really for?
It is. I mean, it's calmed a lot of things, just having the person there, or the SRO there. It has also dissuaded a lot of the campus activities that we were called up to handle after the fact. And we had one case of a student that was reported carrying a gun, and the SRO was able to go into the classroom, immediately get control of the backpack that the gun was in, take the student out, and before anybody really knew what was going on. And it turned out to be just one of the replica guns. But just having that response and being that quick on the campus was, opposed to 7, 8, 10 minutes that it would have taken for an officer to get there. A lot of people die in just a few minutes with these school things start happening. So that's
That kind of
just
leads
one
to
of
my
the deals.
second question, and that is, I know that you're just putting in a paper what you're doing for real, and I assume the high school and the junior school are where the SRO spends most of the time. And I guess I sometimes wonder if we get caught at the wrong campus, but I guess you're normally based out of the high school, and frequently something happens.
95% of the time we're going to be at the high school. But there are occasions where we have to go out to the other district campuses to help them out with a situation, keep it from getting out of control.
And I guess that includes Robbins.
That includes Robbins, yes, sir.
And just remember too, that the cost share breakdown, just remember in the summer, we get the benefit of using the officer.
Oh, that's right.
So during the summertime months, they're here. They don't get summer break like the kids.
Yep.
So that's why we're at that cost share.
Got it.
Chief, if I could ask, do you know the larger districts in town, Northeast and City of San Antonio and whatnot, they all have their own internal police departments, best I can tell. Are they funded 100% by the school districts, or are those cities also picking up part of the charge?
Those school districts are actually 100% independent, and their police departments are funded through the school district itself, 100%.
Well, our district is also 100% independent, isn't it? Yeah. So there's no difference there. I don't know. That's just, to me, maybe they should pick up the whole bill.
I think that Buddy answered the part of it that was my question. That is, we get the officer for at least 25% of the year.
Well, maybe we pay for him, when we're using him.
That's what we do right now.
Well, but we're also paying for him to sit at the school.
No.
We're paying 25%, and he's here 25%. In other words, school's not open 100% of the time.
Yeah, I think we get him full-time whenever school's out.
So our numbers work out to cover that 25%.
That's true. It's not just the summer break, but also the winter break,
Right.
and the spring break, and on school holidays that are not city holidays.
I guess the only question would be with the expanded scope. I guess you're saying it's the same as it's been in practice, the expanded scope.
That's all we're trying to do, is make sure our agreement is following our practice.
Right.
So
That
we
doesn't
get
change the
questioned.
split.
It won't be an issue if there was an incident off campus.
And that doesn't, this is just a question for my knowledge or lack of. When he goes out of the city of San Antonio, does he still have the proper authorities to act as a police officer, say at Robbins or over at the middle school?
He's a licensed peace officer by the state, and that jurisdiction extends there. Basically, where we are limited in this is where we file criminal charges if we make an arrest in criminal charges. Basically, we would have to file those charges in the jurisdiction where the offense occurred. In this particular case, Bexar County, all of these campuses are in Bexar County, and that's where all of our cases are already filed.
All right.
If it's something we anticipate, or if they're calling us because they have a crime on the campus, then we refer them to the San Antonio Police Department to handle those as the investigative unit.
I think the moral of the story is if you see an Alamo police driving in Bernie, that doesn't mean you can go 95 miles an hour because he has authority, right?
That's true.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the resolution?
I move we approve.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great. All right, we move to item number 10, consideration of resolution between the City of Alamo Heights and the Texas Department of Transportation for the purpose of supporting the continued development of the Lower Broadway roadway improvement plan. Buddy? Thanks, Chief.
Mayor and council members, good evening. So discussions have continued with TxDOT, between the city and TxDOT over the past several months, and more so the last couple of weeks. A lot of high-level discussion. The focus has been on roadway and stormwater improvements. One thing that they are absolutely adamant about is there will be no lane reductions, similar to San Antonio's project. So it would be current capacity to remain, no matter what action. That has to be the first thing that's accepted. Can you advance me, Phil? That wasn't what I had in mind.
That's how bleak this looks?
No, that's not a sign of things to come, hopefully. TxDOT is requesting that the council consider passing a resolution to support this effort prior to their August 20th board meeting in Austin. There will also have to be several procedural items. I think we skipped forward, Phil. I didn't have that in mind either.
Yeah.
I think that was the end slide. That's okay.
That's all right.
We'll get it. I'll just read them to you.
Yeah, we've got them on our.
Okay, and so the second slide, TxDOT has shown support to address the road, sidewalk, surface, and underground stormwater improvements, incorporation of landscaping and lid features where possible by the city, replacement of the city water and sewer lines, and potential burial of utilities by the city. TxDOT submitted a modified project to the MPO Policy Board for the original $10 million committed to the project. We do not know what that looks like yet, but we know they have submitted that, and I believe the Policy Board tentatively has approved that, but not the full board. As of this date, we've confirmed also that Bexar County and Sarah Funding is still committed to the project. And in summary, TxDOT is requesting a resolution showing support of this effort to be passed by City of Alamo Heights prior to the April 20th, 2022 board meeting in Austin. And several procedure items will still have to be worked out in a formal agreement between the city and Austin. So, and I'll take.
Buddy, before we get into discussion, can I ask that we go into executive session to discuss this item as authorized by Texas Government Code 551.071 to consult with our attorney? And it is 6:13.
Me too, huh?
Yes, sir. Say no, John.
into executive session at about, what's that? 6:13, like I said. All right, we went into session at 6:13. We are out at 6:45. No action was taken. And continue with, Buddy gave the presentation on item number 10. And so the item is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Alamo Heights, Texas, to work jointly with the Texas Department of Transportation to identify and complete improvements on Broadway between Austin Highway and Burr Road and setting an effective date. Do we have a motion to approve that resolution? Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. All right, thank you.
Since the police chief is here, since we had so many activities in Alamo Heights this yesterday week, they did a phenomenal job.
Absolutely. Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Thank y'all very much. Okay, Blake?
I move we adjourn this meeting.
Second.